The bar was loud that night. One of those places where cigarette smoke hung like a ghost in the air, where drunk laughter tangled with curses, and the clatter of bottles drowned out anything soft. Tough men in leather crowded the dim corners, their tattoos catching the flickering light like symbols of power. And standing quietly among all that noise was Emily. Emily wasn't the kind of woman who demanded attention. She wore simple jeans, a white shirt, and kept her hair neatly tied back. She moved quickly, quietly, gracefully, a presence almost invisible to the chaos around her. But behind her tired smile lived storms she never spoke about, pain she carried alone, strength no one recognized. That night, when a rowdy group of bikers pushed their way inside, the atmosphere shifted. They acted like kings of the room, laughing too loudly, shoving chairs aside, trying to intimidate anyone who crossed their path. Emily kept her eyes down, staying focused on her work, hoping the storm would pass her by. But storms don't always give warnings. One of the bikers, tall, broad, coated in tattoos and dripping arrogance, fixed his gaze on her. His taunt started small, annoying, cruel. But when Emily stayed calm, refusing to react, something inside him snapped. His pride demanded a spectacle. Right there in front of everyone, he grabbed her shirt and tore it open. The bar gasped. A few drunk men even laughed. The biker smirked, expecting her to collapse into humiliation. But what the room saw next turned their laughter into stunned silence. Across Emily's chest, impossible to ignore beneath the torn shirt, was the bold emblem of the United States Marine Corps. A symbol forged in pain, discipline, sacrifice. A symbol she had never shown and never flaunted. Suddenly, the cruel biker stood frozen, his face pale, his hand trembling. The smirk vanished as reality slammed into him. Emily wasn't just a waitress. Emily was a Marine. If you believe in hidden strength, quiet courage, and the power of kindness, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Warriors. Your support keeps these stories alive. The room stayed silent as Emily straightened herself, her breath steady, her expression unchanged. She didn't shout, didn't threaten, didn't try to prove anything. She simply stood there, a warrior who didn't need anyone's recognition. Years earlier, Emily had enlisted not for glory, but to escape poverty and a life that kept trying to break her. The Marines had shaped her, tested her, pushed her through battles most people couldn't imagine. She had held the hands of friends in their final moments, faced nights of fear, days of survival, and when she returned home, she carried those memories in silence. The tattoo wasn't pride. It was a reminder. And that night, against her will, that reminder became visible to everyone. The biker who had torn her shirt stumbled back, suddenly small in the presence of a woman whose strength didn't need fists or shouting. His friends, who had laughed moments earlier, now stared at the floor. Some whispered apologies. Others simply shrank into their seats, ashamed. Emily didn't bask in their discomfort. She didn't want their fear. She quietly buttoned what was left of her shirt and returned to her work, as if nothing had happened. But something had. Something unforgettable. From that night forward, people looked at her differently. They greeted her with respect instead of impatience. They thanked her for her service. They noticed her. For the first time in a long time, Emily felt seen, not as a waitress, not as a shadow in a loud bar, but as someone who had survived battles far greater than anyone there could comprehend. Yet even with the sudden respect, she still fought private wars no one could see. Sleepless nights, memories that struck without warning, a loneliness that clung to her ribs. She worked at the bar not just for a paycheck, but to keep her mind occupied, to keep herself from sinking into the past. Still, through her own pain, she remained gentle. She covered shifts for struggling coworkers. She listened to patrons who carried their own heartbreak. And when the homeless drifter stopped by late at night, she always found a way to give him food, quietly, without ever asking for thanks. The biker never returned. Maybe shame kept him away. Maybe fear. But the sight of Emily standing tall in her torn shirt, unbroken, stayed with everyone who was there. In one moment, she reminded them all that real strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. Real strength is silent, steady, and unshakable. Years later, after the bar eventually closed and life moved on, people still told the story of the night a cruel act revealed a hidden warrior. To some, Emily became a local legend. To others, a symbol of courage they had once overlooked. But to those who truly understood her, she was a reminder that quiet people often carry the heaviest stories. And sometimes, the strongest among us are the ones who never ask to be seen. If Emily's story touched your heart today, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Warriors. Your support helps us bring more real-life stories of courage and humanity to the world. Before you go, drop a comment below. Which moment in Emily's story moved you the most? Your words might inspire someone else watching. Because in this world, many heroes walk among us silently, carrying their battles with grace, choosing kindness over anger, and proving that dignity can never be torn away.